Hello guys, welcome to my channel. In this channel I show you multiple After Effects videos and other motion videos. So in this video I will show you how you can use card wipe into your intro or other platforms, and you can use it in your project file. So without further ado, let's straight dive into the project. So here we are in After Effects. So after going to the After Effects, what we first need to do here is we have to create a new composition over here, which will be the main composition for our render. So we'll create main comp here, and we need to create another composition over here, which is our secondary comp, which will be our text placeholder, in which we will store our text, and we will put effects and presets and all the other things, all the other fascinating things over here. So we'll write the name of the composition is text placeholder, and I think the width and height, the 1920 by 1080, is perfectly fine for it, because the main composition is also 1920 by 1080, and we have to change the duration over here because the duration 30 seconds is too long for us. So you have to change it to around 10 seconds, and I think it looks good. So hit OK, and let's straight dive into the composition. So first we need to go to the text placeholder one, and after that we should change the size of the text, because it's around, I think, 200 pixels is fine. So now we'll select T in the top right corner, and now write after over here. So we have to write after here because we're gonna create this animation over After Effects in this text. I think we have written the text on the left side of the composition, which is not ideal, because if we want to put our animation over it, we have to put it in the center, which will look better, which will look more professional. So to do that, first we need to change the center, change the anchor point over there. So we need to go first, we need to place the text in the middle, and then we need to go to the pan behind tool, and we need to change the anchor point. So if we go to the anchor point and hit control and click mouse double click, it will go just right in the middle. So after that, we should put some effects and presets on it, as you have seen in the previous intro. So let's go to the effects and presets, and let's search for gradient ramp. So after searching for gradient ramp, you can see there's a effect over here which is called generate gradient ramp, and just double click on it, and it will be applied on the panel. So after that, we need to change the color of the gradient ramp, the top part and the bottom part. So let's first change the top part over here. So the top part is around, I think I want it more reddish over here, because red is one of my favorite colors. So after changing it to the red colors, what we need to do is here hit OK, and let's go to the bottom part, and I think the bottom part should be the same almost. It should reflect the red color, because if it doesn't reflect the red color, what will happen is it will look it will not look more professional. We have to make sure the thing we're making, or the thing we're creating, any kind of composition in After Effects, we have to always make sure that the composition looks more professional, more aesthetic, because that's a part of animation, that's a part of motion, right? So after that, what we need to do is select after, and I think we have to make it a big. So hit S and scale it big down. So after scaling it up, what we need to do is we need to create another composition, so that we can write the effects part. So go to the text placeholder one and hit Control D, and it will create the second composition, which is text placeholder 2, and click on it, click on the text, and write effects over there. So after creating, we have written effects over here, and we have to change, I think we have to resize it a little bit down to match with the other text, which is the after text. So we have to resize it, and we have to replace it in the center part of the composition, so that it doesn't look odd or it doesn't look bad. I think first we need to check the first text. So after that, we can change the color. So let's first change the color of the effects part. So go to the gradient ramp part, effect control, and change the color. So here in this text, I want to change the color to the blue part, because blue is also one of my favorite colors. It should be like, sky's blue. So it will blend with the red, because red and blue always match together. So and bottom part, the gradient and the end color should be like around, the aqua color. When you go to the beach and you see the underwater color is so red, and it looks good. The yellow doesn't look that good with the red because it's more okay. So after we change the effects text color to the blue, what we need to do here right now here is we should go to the main comp, and we should import both the text placeholders. So after importing both the text placeholder, what we should do here is we should first import the text placeholder 2 and the text placeholder 1. And here you can see the effects part is bigger than the after part, so we have to resize it down to the bottom so that it can match with the after part. And we have to also replace it just behind the after so that we can use our desired effect on it. And we should, I think now it looks good, because after, and we have to also replace the effects part just in the center so that it could blend in with our effect over here. So after that, what we need to do over here is pretty simple. So first let's hide the text placeholder 2 and go to the effects channel. So after going to the effects panel, let's search for card wipe, which is an amazing effect. I've used this effect on my multiple projects, and it never failed me, or it never failed me to amaze my clients, because it's one of the best intro effects I've ever used. It is a very stock and very amazing effect on After Effects, which you can get it without any plugins. So after going to the card wipe part, let's change the transition composition, which is if you can check it, if we change the transition composition, it looks it just blends in. And if we go to the back layer part and change the text layer, and now if we change the transition composition, you can see after we it just blends in so well, right? So After Effects, so if we reduce it, it goes up, and if we increase it, it goes down. And let's change the rows and columns. You can play with the more functions, right? So transition completions, rows and columns, or you can do it multiple ways. It's up to you. It's your own kingdom. You can change the transitions and whatever you like. So I think we should change the rows to around, I think 20 looks fine. 20 looks okay. And we go to columns part, and it's same. 30 looks fine. 30 looks totally fine with it. And after changing the color to it, what we need to do here is pretty simple, pretty basic. The back layer, the transition completion is looking really good over here. So 55%. We have to create a keyframe over here if you want an animation. So hit the stopwatch button and take it to the 0 second, and go to the 3 second panel, because if we don't go to I think 3 second is good. To measure the 3 second is really tough with the bottom part. So first we need to copy it down, and we need to check which I think I have merged it down too little, so I have to, I think, increase it. So around, like, I think, yeah, now 3 second looks perfectly fine, right? So now hit the transition completion and make another keyframe over here. So you can see here, there's 2 keyframes, and it looks pretty good. Now we have to change it, and we have to hit F9, or you can ease in, and it will look more smooth, more static, more because if we don't use the easy ease, what will happen here is because it will look more static, it will not look more smooth. So hit F9 over here, and after hitting F9, what will happen is it will go easy ease. Now the text effect will look more smooth, more professional, and more amazing. So you can see here the rows and the effects and the transitions are blending in so perfectly. And you can change the timing randomness as well, so it's up to you. You can change it to around like 0, 1, 2, whatever you like. I'm gonna change it to around 0.6, because I think more randomness brings more hassles, which is not ideal for my effects. So after going to the timing randomness, changing it to around 0.60, you can see, yeah, it looks pretty cool over here. So now you can go, you can change a lot of functions over, because there's a lot of functions over here, and you can try it out by your own. You can change your own platform, and you can also flip it, flip axis. So you can go to the X, you can go to the Y, and you can go to the Z axis as well. Because if we change the random, it will just blow in. It looks, the transition is so natural and so good. And more often what we do here is I think the x axis looks fine because I'm gonna stick with the flip x axis. And you can go to the position jitter. So after going to the position jitter, what will happen is you have to change the x jitter amount, and you can change the y jitter amount. It's up totally you. So we can create a keyframe over it. So to create a keyframe over the position jitter, we need to first understand how the jitter works, right? So as you can see, when I'm changing the jitter amount, what happens is so changing the x jitter amount, changing the y jitter amount, you can change it a lot of things. So we have to let's put keyframes on the x jitter amount, y jitter amount, and the z jitter amount. So first what we need to do is we need to go to 0 second, and to go after going to the 0 second, we need to change the x jitter amount to around 0, because the desired animation will be much more complicated. So if we increase the x jitter amount, if we increase the y jitter amount, it just blows in, right? So first I think I have done some mistake over here. So I think for the 0 part will be in the mid part, because if we don't change the mid part, first you need to press U to get to this stage, because if you don't go to this stage, what will happen is pretty solid, pretty basic. And if we hit in the middle, now it looks okay, because to change the x jitter amount to 0, and to change the y jitter amount to like the x jitter amount is like 1.0 or 1.9, and the y jitter amount is 1.35, and the z jitter amount is around after changing the x jitter amount, y jitter amount, and the z jitter amount. So we have to go to the 0 second and change the x jitter amount to 0, and y jitter amount to 0, and the z jitter amount to 0. So after changing this three amount, this x, y, z jitter amount, we can see. Let's go to the 3 second part, and you can see there's this part, and go to the 3 part and make it 0 again, because there will be this effect is gonna go up, right, down, and go up, right, bottom, right? So control C, control V, copy and paste it down. And after copy and pasting it down, what we need to do over here is pretty simple, which is then what we need to do over here is here you can see we have keyframe the 3 part to 1 to 3 second over here. And let's reduce the timeline, because it will be easier for us to handle the timeline, because if the timeline is too big, it will be really difficult for us to maintain the timeline and to maintain the time source over here, which is pretty annoying if you can manage them properly. So here you can see the main part is pretty much done over here. You can see the animation looks pretty good, pretty amazing. The animation is more fabulous over here. So after changing the animation, let's go to the keyframe part and keyframe assistant, and go to make it easy ease, so it will look more smooth, more cool over here. So if we now turn on the effect, you will see the effect is more complicated and more vibrant over here, because there's a lot of randomness over it. And here you can see it is much more pleasing to see than before. After going to that, and let's duplicate the text placeholder one again. Now what we can do here is we can change it, and we can change the z0 amount and the x0 amount also, so that it looks more functional and more good. So that after changing the z0 amount and the x0 amount, it will be much more sophisticated and much more pleasing to see, because the more effect and the more complication you put on effect with proper planning, it looks more obvious and more cool over it. So because as we have introduced a new kind of card wipe effect over here, so I think the project looks pretty cool, pretty amazing. So now what we can do here is we can change the color of it, and we can go to the effect panel. And now let's search for another effect which will increase the pleasantness of it. So let's change the bottom part of the fill, and let's change the color of it to in a different color. For this part, what will we do here is let's change the color to greenish. I guess green looks okay, or like violet. You can change whatever you want. So the color value looks fine over it, and if you add three colors onto the composition, it will look more good and more premium for it. Now you can see the color, but I think the color doesn't pop out that much. So let's change the color again, and let's change into any different colors which will pop up and which will suit this effect so well, so that we can manage the effect and we can manage the more look over here. And the After Effects looking is much more complicated and much more sophisticated over here, and it can make amazing things, like it can make so many good things. And after changing the color, I think the yellow looks more solid and more prominent over here, because if you can change the color into any different colors, because yellow doesn't look that good. So if you change the color into the sort of grayish color, it will be less visible, but it will create effect and it will create solidity over the composition. So after changing the composition, changing the second layer composition, because as we have duplicated it, and the duplicated version of it, it will look more obvious and more professional. So this type of After Effects compositions, you can make it in your home, you can use it in our multiple projects over here in your life, right? So